So here's a quick update on that terminal. So as you can see, it's turning green inside of there. I'm curious to what the ohms reading would be. I haven't checked it yet, but also it was getting hot. You can tell how the wire was discoloring, like right there, and then as you get towards the top of this, it's starting to look more of a more natural copper color, but it kind of turns yellowish right there. You can tell that it was certainly getting hot. Another thing is when you put these connectors on, if you look at the way that is open right there, I'm willing to bet that when you're driving the car, it's making contact half-ass. It's not having a full clamp on the actual male-in connector. When this happens, that vibration, you can tell how, see how that one tip on the top is turning black? It was getting super hot. So when this thing is in the car and you hit bumps and it's shaking like that, you're kind of like disconnecting and connecting the connection like hundreds of times, right? If it's not a tight connector, it's gonna get hot like that. You can see the discoloration right there. So I believe that this is why these modules might be overheating, or heating the wire to the point where it's getting so hot that it's causing a good connection. So I ordered a new connector with new wiring. I also have an old harness that has some of these same connectors. As a matter of fact, your ignition coils on that harness uses the same connector for the fuel driver module connection. It's the same terminal. I just pulled one out earlier, and there's a couple other terminals, there's a couple other connectors on the harness that use this same connector. So I was able to salvage a couple old connectors. I got a whole bunch of them still on the old harness, but I was able to get them pulled out. What you need is a removal tool where it kind of looks like a fork. It'll be making contact on the top here, and then on the bottom, you see them little tabs sticking out, just barely sticking out. You shove your tool in through the terminal, and it makes contact on this side and the other side, and it pushes them tabs in and allows you to pull the connector out of the plastic housing. But that's the part that locks it in. There's also a plastic lock that's inside the connector. Some were orange or purple. The one connector that I got this out of was I think it was to a sensor. But the color of that plastic lock was like a brownish color, I believe. But anyways, I'll display the other connector later on when I got some time. But I'm starting to believe that green buildup in there, because it was corroding inside there with the heat and everything, it was turning green. I'm willing to bet that inside here it's all green and everything, and the crimp is just all dirty and everything, and it's not giving a good contact. This very well could be the same issue I'm having with my S5, where the prime circuit is not working. So for the prime circuit to work, it's actually giving it a full 12 volts. It's not pulsating any it's not doing a duty cycle once the engine's up and running. The duty cycle comes out of the red and violet wire. It's pin position number 6 on that plastic connector. It's the very last one. It's numbered 1 through 6. So if you guys are having problems, it wouldn't hurt to take a really close look at this connectors and see if they're getting hot and if they're getting corroded like the way mine is, because they're, and the discoloration on the wire harness itself. If you touch the wire harness like right here while the sheathing's still on there, I pull this off just purposely just to show the discoloration and the heat buildup that was happening on here, and you could totally see it. But anyways, if the harness is on there and you try to bend it like right here and just kind of like just try to manipulate the wire, if it feels very solid and real hard, there's a good possibility it's burnt. And just look at the coloration, and also look inside the plastic connector housing itself. If it looks like it's bubbling a little bit, that means yes, it's getting hot. And it very well could be that this connector, see how it's opened up? A brand new one's completely closed. And you could totally see how it's opened up right there. And like I said, it was getting hot. So like I said, so if you're having the same issue as I am, this would be a good thing to really inspect really closely to see if that's your problem. But it sure looks like this was the culprit. And it's not just this wire. The number 1, 2, and 3, it's the white, yellow, and red wire. They were all really hot. And I believe that's the one that's just giving your voltage when you first open the door for the prime circuit, you know, because it's going to be, once it wakes up, it's up. But the fuel driver module, it's basically controlling the speed of the pump. But like I said earlier, when you open the door, there is no pulse width modulation going on. It's basically giving it 12 volts and it's turning on. As a matter of fact, you could even use your scan tool to activate the fuel pump relay, where it energizes that whole circuit, and one of these out of the 3 wires gets hot and it gives it a full 12 volts. Where like if you wanted to test a fuel pump relay and you can hear it click, you can hear your fuel pump come on. When I was doing it with mine, the fuel pump was not coming on. If you sit back and lean back towards the back seat, you can hear it. If you sit back quietly, you can hear it come on. It was working, like, I don't know, 6 months ago when I replaced all this stuff, but I never thought to look at this part right here. Everything was working fine. And then all of a sudden I noticed the pump wasn't priming anymore. And then when I tried to prime it with the scan tool, it wasn't priming either. I'm hoping that it didn't mess up my driver module or maybe my pump. I don't think it's my pump, but hopefully not. I'm hoping that this is the issue, because when I replaced the engine, I put a brand new fuel pump and a brand new fuel driver module in the car, because the fuel driver module did leave me stranded and it went bad on me. But anyhow, I'm hoping that maybe this is the culprit right here, along with the other 2 wires, because like I said, they got really hot. So I'm going to do a quick test where I'm going to run heat shrink around these things, or maybe just black tape, and I'm going to just kind of plug them in individually into my fuel driver module, just to verify that just to see if it starts to work. If it starts to work and I verify that yes, my power's come back, my prime circuit is working again, then this has to be the culprit right here. Like I said, it's very easy to miss. The wire was completely intact with all the sheathing, and then what I did, I just kind of bent it right here while the sheathing was on, and then I saw a little bit of green in there. And sure enough, that has to be it. But you can see the green right there. Anyhow, it's just a little bit of information to help you out if you guys are having the same problem I am. And stay tuned. I'll verify once all this is working, and we'll go from there.